Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for all the support. Today, we've got a really special guest, a gentleman named Brian Lebrecht, who I've known for quite a while. He is an attorney. He's a strategist. He's the president of Clyde Snow, which is a legacy law firm based in Salt Lake City. And Brian has a really interesting career. He started out as an associate, climbed the ranks, became all the way to president of the firm, and somebody who I've got tremendous respect for and has just been a really great sounding board for me in business. And I hope he can bring some insights to all of you. So, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ron. I really appreciate you having me on today.
You bet. Now, you've spent, a little over a decade at Clyde Snow, rising through the ranks from, associate all the way into president. What have been some of those key inflection points that you've had along that journey?
Yeah, the firm, was here long before me, obviously, and was led by a great group of founders, and their work ethic and their culture matched mine, and that's the reason that I joined. The inflection point was really the natural progression in leadership from that founders group, which did a great job of getting the firm going, to the next generation of leaders. When the opportunity presented itself to lead, I just kind of jumped on it.
Yeah. I mean, so you didn't envision yourself being in the leadership role in the beginning like that? It sounds like it evolved over time.
It did. No, I did not at all. In fact, I wasn't even sure, when I came out of law school, whether I was going to be a traditional private practice lawyer or not, and certainly didn't picture myself leading what is pretty much a traditional law firm. I actually was not an associate here. I had started in a very rough economic time, very similar to right now, I think. So, kind of scraped and scratched and started my own firm early on in my practice career. And I come from a family of business owners. And so I thought in my mind, I was thinking, well, I'll probably, take a job and learn the ropes a little bit, and then I'll go out and start something on my own. And in a lot of ways I did. And it was non-traditional. My early firm experience was, we, experimented with alternative fee arrangements, and we took equity in our clients, and we sometimes invested money in our clients. And it was exciting, and I learned a lot during those times and really aligned myself. And then I studied the various revenue streams that law firms were participating in, some of which, went to outside vendors, and some of which were revenue streams that could be capitalized in-house, and worked on that for a while. But ultimately, I did find myself in a traditional law firm and leading, a traditional group of lawyers, which, again, was not exactly what I'd started out to do.
Yeah, it's funny. We don't always seem to have an exact path when we start out. I know.
That's right.
We all think of things differently. Well, when I think of Clyde Snow, and I don't mean this as a Utah comment, but it's got deep Utah roots. But you're also really kind of pioneering a forward-thinking culture. How do you balance that legacy of how the firm was founded with kind of the innovation of today's world?
Yeah, the legacy of the firm is really our intangibles, right? I talked about that founding group, the work ethic, the morals, the reputation of this firm, our standards of quality. These don't change ever. Right? Those are things that are consistent no matter what the time is. But the product that we provide is solving problems. And how you solve the client's problems is an ever evolving strategy that has to change over time. It's got to change with the times. We are always looking at new strategies, technologies, markets, client needs, and then we innovate in ways that will continue to solve their problems.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about the legal world, and I kind of go back to the beginning of this show and what it's called, which is Projecting Grandeur, I mean, projecting credibility in your role is key. And so when you think about that concept, projecting grandeur, what do you think that means to you in context of law?
Yeah. And much like you've talked about, it's not fake, right? It's not projecting something that you're not. In fact, it's just the opposite. It's knowing exactly who you are or who you want to be and acting in every way consistent with that. What size law firm do you want to be? What kind of clients do you want to represent? What fees are appropriate for that market that you're in and the problems that you solve? And then you build your firm around those things so that you fill into exactly where you want to be. What size do you want to be? Get to that size, act like you're that size. What kind of clients do you want to have? Don't take clients that are too small for that mission. Don't take clients that are too big for that mission, right? Figure out exactly where you're comfortable, and don't ever undercut yourself in any of those areas. And it's not about, for us, it's not about growth just for the sake of growing. We're not interested in just improving headcount. We're not interested in just opening new offices for the sake of doing it. We really have goals in mind, and we work towards those goals all the time. And when you do that and you're confident in who you are and what you want, it's not projecting in a fake way. It's just being naturally who you want to be.
Yeah, I really like what you said about how you take on the clients that help manifest that reality, like of what you're trying to be, and it's an interesting way to look at it. I have to imagine today, you know, being a leader in a law firm is challenging, and with the complexity of different types of clients and diverse clients that you guys I know service, in this evolving landscape, like what are those traits as a leader that you have to help a firm be successful in today's environment?
Well, law firms are different than a lot of other businesses. Law firms are, for the most part, most law firms, still a true democracy. I mean, most of the big decisions have to be approved by a majority of the group. And so when I talk to other presidents or C-suite people from other businesses, they're often surprised at how little power I actually have. So really, a big part of my job is understanding where my partners are, what are they interested in, how is their practice going, where do they need help, where are they interested in spending money, where are they not interested in spending money, and always have my finger on the pulse of what's going on. What tools do they need, that sort of thing. So, and then it's the same thing for the marketplace. What are young lawyers looking for, that might be interested in joining our firm? What's important to them? What are more senior lawyers that might be interested in leaving the firm that they're with and looking for a new place to land? What's important to them? What are the things that they want? So a big part of what I do is keeping my finger on what's going on, not only in my office, but also in my legal community. I probably skim through, 50 to 60 lawyer blogs and posts a day using Feedly to try to keep, current on what's going on.
Wow, I didn't realize law firms were a true democracy nowadays. I learned something new already here, Brian. Uh, you touched on this a little bit before, but I want to double click into it. So, talking about growth for a firm like Clyde Snow, you kind of mentioned the right kind of growth, but when you think about it, is it organic? Is it opportunistic, strategic, all of the above? Like, what do you ultimately look for when you're trying to grow the firm?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it's not growth for the sake of adding headcount or for the sake of opening, offices and more locations, at least not at our firm. What we're looking for constantly is quality clients, and we're looking for quality lawyers. And then we study how to match up our quality lawyers with those quality clients to solve their problems. Again, our product, what we offer to the market, is problem solving. So now, we do have to have growth, right? Expenses are always going up. Revenues need to increase. We need to always have a pipeline of new work to keep our lawyers busy. When we represent good clients, good things happen to those clients. So sometimes they sell, sometimes they, move up in terms of the marketplace that they're in. Sometimes they move out of our local location and need something else. So we do have to keep that pipeline going, but it's important to keep it at a similar quality. Sometimes maintenance is growth. Just if you have it really good, maintaining it really good and keeping it really good is a goal. Law firms tend to come and go, and they tend to come and go in a hurry. How do we do all that? All the ways that you described, right? Some of it's organic, some of it's outside. A lot of it is just long-standing relationship. The other thing that we really have to focus on is we have to develop our next generation of client generators. You talk on your podcast here, Ron, about how everybody sells, and we have that same philosophy. But some people are really interested in being client generators as part of their career, and others are not. Those that are interested in that, we have to have a platform that really allows them to manifest that, right? To go out. If that's what they want to do, then we want to give them all the tools to go out and do that, because we obviously need generational client generators to keep the firm evolving.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you get a drought. You need rainmakers.
That's
Yeah,
right.
for
Right.
sure.
But everybody's style is different. It's not a, you don't write a script and send people out there and say, here's how you generate clients. Everybody, it's a personal relationship with lawyers, and everybody's style is different, and you have to let people develop their own styles.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this next question is a bit of like in my head, I'm conflicted on it because as I think about law firms, I think there's not a business that doesn't have more calculated, thoughts around risk, because you guys weigh it from every different angle. But like when I think about, all the things that you're talking about here, is there a moment, that you've had either as just an attorney in the firm or even as the president of the firm where you had a difficult decision where there was some risk and you decided to take that risk that it paid off and resulted in growth for the firm?
These happen every day, Ron. I mean, I came in and started leading a mature, established business that I took over. I didn't build it; it was here. And everyday decisions about clients that come in, about staffing needs, even our physical space, they all have to be made with our goals and our culture in mind. And people that work here, people that want to career here, they want stability. They want to know when they come in every day and start servicing their clients, start solving their clients' needs, that there's not a whole lot of outside forces going on that are going to disrupt them. So that's really a big part of my job, is to eliminate the surprises. And so it's not single decisions. It's a whole bunch of little decisions that have to all be made consistently to achieve the same goals. Um, I'm also a big believer, Ron, in putting in the work and leaving the outcome to some sort of, higher power or outside force. I don't know whether, if you're a person of faith or, even you just believe in the cosmos or whatever, but I believe that if you do the work, then the outcomes will always turn out positive for you.
Yeah, nothing trumps hard work. I,
That's
I
right.
agree with that. You talked about hiring earlier. As you think about, the right kind of attorneys that you bring on, that younger crop that you talk about, are there
Yep.
different guiding principles that you look at when you're evaluating new potential, attorneys for the firm?
Yeah, it's our job to make sure that they understand who we are and what we stand for. It's our job to make sure they understand who they are and who they want to be in their career. So, have we done a good enough job of making them aware of who we are and what we stand for, what our principles are, and then ultimately, are we a good fit for them? And if we are, then let's map out a career path for them that is consistent with what their goals are, and we help support that. This is a stressful profession. It's a lot of risks, a lot of highs and lows. It takes a lot of time out of your life, out of your personal life. And so it's really got to be a good fit. If both sides aren't happy with the relationship, then I'm the first one to help somebody find someplace, another home, find someplace else to go. There's a lot of different ways to have a career in the law. We offer one path. If we're a good fit for them, then that's great. We support them. But if we're not, we also support them in finding a good place for them to land.
Hmm. So as I think about what you just said, I've got to think mentorship plays a key role because you're not only investing in finding the right person, but it's, as you said earlier, it's about developing, the future generation. How does mentorship play a role in the firm today?
It's huge. I mean, that founding group that I talked about, they mentored me. They mentored me while they were still in charge of the firm. And then as I took over leadership of the firm, they stayed available for me. And that was really a great blessing. And I reached out to them on a number of occasions to ask for advice on certain things. So that mentorship goes on even for the guys that aren't here practicing every day. Um, One of my good friends warned me, hey, now that you're the president of the firm, get used to eating lunch alone because nobody wants to spend time with you. You're not part of the gang anymore, right? And this is one of the interesting things about law firm leadership, at least in our structure. I'm still a practicing attorney with a full practice, and so my colleagues and I, we meet every day to talk about our clients' problems and how we're going to solve them and what our solutions are going to be and how we're going to approach it. So there's that part, and then there's the law firm leadership part, and we have to mix those. We don't have a choice. So um but mostly my theory is that I call it just leading from the front, right? If I'm not willing to do it myself, then I'm not going to ask somebody else to do it. So there's not a task here from making the decisions about the next real estate decision that we need to make to taking out the trash that I'm not willing to do. I will. People will tell you that nobody fills the dishwasher more than Brian Lebrecht.
So what I'm hearing is basically being the president of a firm is a lot like being a business owner, because I eat a lot of lunches alone, I take a lot of trash out, and I spend a lot of time at my desk here. So we got a lot of similarities.
That's right.
Uh, so anybody who's out there listening, and we've got a wide array of viewers out there, from first-time entrepreneurs to veteran entrepreneurs to people who are looking to make that leap, and even professional people. There's some young lawyers out there listening right now that they want to go down that path where they think firm leadership is something in their future. What advice would you give to them?
I think it's a lot like I'm a big sports fan, Ron. And so it's a lot like being the second string player on any sports team. You do the work, you get yourself ready. And when your name's called, when that opportunity arises, if you want it, jump on it, go for it. There's tons of opportunities, but you got to be ready.
Yeah, that's so true. Listen, Brian, like it's been a real pleasure, knowing you for as many years as I have. For anybody out there that's looking to get a hold of their firm, I can tell you, Brian, and many of the attorneys in that firm, if not all of them, are outstanding. How would people get a hold of you? And one more question on that: do you only serve Utah, or do you serve clients all over the country?
We're a Utah only firm, but certain practice areas just by necessity cut across, into different areas of the country. We do have clients all over the country in our business practice, in our natural resources practice, and some other areas as well. ClydeSnow.com is the website. You're welcome to look up attorneys and their bios in your area, or just reach out in general. We have an intake process. We'll get you to the right person.
That's awesome. Well, I'll share all the links in the episode release. But Brian, thanks for all your advice. Thanks for your input, and I again appreciate kind of getting your perspective on things. And I learned a lot. Law firms have a lot of similarities to being an entrepreneur. So thanks for sharing today.
My pleasure, Ron. Thank you.
All right, and everyone else, remember, keep projecting that grandeur. Keep focused on the future. It's all iterative. You're not going to get there tomorrow. It is a process. So enjoy it as you go. And don't forget to connect with Brian and his firm for anything that they can do. For now, take care, everyone.